What's up, Lelis? How are you doing, man?
I've reached a new low. God, that was the worst. I'm sorry, guys. Hello, welcome back. We're here at the DPC. I apologize for my lack of professionalism. Luckily, Bowie and Lelis make up for it by being the best panelists you can find here. So, DPC is back. We have 2 more matches for Div 1 to end us the week. We're going to start off with Balrogs versus Infamous. A kind of do or die match for Balrogs because if they don't win this match, they have no chances of staying in Div 1. They're most likely going to get relegated as they're kind of fighting right now against Apu and Hokori to see if they can take matches off them, but they really need a win right now. As you guys can see here, Balrogs even below Infinity, Apu, and now obviously Infamous would reach that top 4 as well. Balrogs probably not looking for the major anymore, just looking to stay here, which makes sense. They're a Div 2 team after all, and they will be fighting without sanctions for the first time, so this might be a chance for them to actually get a victory against Infamous. The question though is, will they be able to do it? And more importantly, does my panel think they will be able to do it? So I'm gonna start with you, Bowie. Do you think Balrogs could beat Infamous? Do they think they have what it takes?
I know it's a meme that I'm the person that always goes for the underdog, but like if you look at results from Balrogs, they lost to Beast Coast and Thunder Awaken, right? No one's gonna argue that these guys are not the best teams in the whole thing. So they have 1 loss against Apu, if I'm not mistaken. And Infamous, like I think they lost to teams that are arguably worse. They have 2 losses. The only team that they actually won was Infinity. It was a 2-1, 2-1 for them. I feel like there's a decent chance Balrogs can win this series. I feel like they actually look, even the games that they lost against Thunder Awaken, they were punching back. It was not a stomp by any means. I just feel like they got unlucky with the drawing and they got a lot of good teams in a row, you know?
Yeah, that's not... In case people don't know, that's not luck, by the way. That is the TO that organized that schedule. And if I don't think I'm sharing a secret here that it's very normal for TOs to try to schedule the quote-unquote hype matches towards the end of the week. So if you're the Div 2 team coming from lower division, I guarantee you are gonna fight the top dogs in the first week. And I'm very sorry for teams that have to do that. I also will say, disclaimer, we are not the TO. It's 4D. So any complaints, it's 4D Esports at Twitter. Don't talk to us. Thank you
talk
much.
to me. You said I'm actually gonna put Balrogs against Beast Coast in the first week. You told me
it's true. I actually had King Tekka at gunpoint, and he was like, "No, not Beast Coast." But you know, guns beat King Tekka. Lelis, what is your opinion? Do you share the optimism of Bowie? Do you think they can beat Infamous here, or do you think Balrogs are a bit of a free fall right now?
Man, I don't think they're like a dead dog or anything. I think they for sure showed like some signs of life against Thunder. I was actually impressed a little bit that they actually weren't like destroyed in the games. So I also think this Infamous got a little bit worse, I would say. It's hard to say, it's kind of early, but I think they got worse after roster change. Maybe just because they didn't have enough time to mesh together. I think if this was the Infamous from last season, I think it would crush them, but I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a pretty 60-40, I think, for Infamous. I think Balrogs for sure need to like prove themselves because they haven't won anything yet, right? They haven't beaten the team. So they also lost to Apu. So it kind of says a little bit where they are.
In what aspects, by the way, do you think Infamous got a bit worse? What are you referring to in that sense? Like, is there anything that you noticed about them that you're like, last season they were able to do this and now they can't?
Well, they got to, was the finals of the regionals? Was it? It was, right?
Yeah, they had the finals,
Yeah. So that was like a really good run. I thought they were playing well. I just didn't see the same thing in this season. I just felt like the game wasn't going as well. They had like these... Oh, the draft just looked a little bit weird sometimes. It just didn't really... I'm not sure what it is exactly, if they're just not meshing together their thoughts or what they want to do in the game. It just doesn't look as clean as last season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Lelis totally, because they were 2-0. Like, it's not like they lost to Lava or Hokori. They lost 2-0 to those teams. In Infinity, it was like a really close match. So I'm not sure if the players that they have right now are inherently worse than Sacred and... Who was playing for Sliding? It was Michael, right?
Michael.
Yeah, I just don't feel like they found their groove yet. So that's why Balrogs... I think they really fought the best team so far, with the exception of Apu. And Infamous, they're not looking as hot. So that's why I think it's a 55-45, let's say.
I do think Michael is coming back, though, because they made an announcement recently saying, guess who's back, right?
Really?
So, yeah. The thing is, and I remember reading the announcement and being like, "Do you guys know how the DPC rules work? Is you can't do this mid-season." But it was announced for them, so it was like the Pokemon, like the black portrait, you know, and you don't really know who the silhouette. That's the word. So I don't know if it's Michael, but it could be. We'll see in today's game. I think they are playing with them as a stand-in, so we'll have to see. They get 2 more games, I believe, because they already played 1 game as a stand-in. Total of 3 games overall in DPC you get with a stand-in. So we'll see. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's something like
So
that. Wasn't Michael
It's 4,
standing
I
for
think.
another team?
No, they
Yes, but yeah, that actually got questioned. It did get stand-in by another team. Michael was standing in for Infinity, but
Yeah.
the thing is, because Michael is not playing for a Division 1 team, technically he can stand in for as many teams as he wants. We did double check the rules the other day for that, so that's a bit of a
Dude,
loophole.
that's
I
how you
suppose.
actually make the big bucks, right? You're just standing for a lot of Div 1 teams, and you can instead of just making the money of one team, you can make the as I guess 4 games for each team. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I think you get no bucks. I think he's getting paid nothing. I think he just plays because he has no team vote. I think this is the worst strategy for Michael, just being abused left, right, and center. I mean,
Jeez.
I agree with you guys. Can I throw some theories I've seen about Infamous out there? One of the things that people are talking about Infamous is that one of the weaknesses Infamous has always had is Axel as a player. And they're not flame to him, but Axel is very well known for being the people like Goblak, if you guys used to watch Dota a long time ago, or fucking Mad 6-7 years ago. And that's why I'm not using Seb, because they're just known as players that like their drafting and their tactics are amazing, but their gameplay is sometimes a bit lacking. Axel, for example, is known for dying like 5-6 times in lane easily, right? And so what they were commenting on, a lot of people are saying that Sacred would pick up the slack there. Like, Axel would give him a really good draft. He would enable him. He had the right calls. But because the laning was a bit weaker, Sacred would pick up the slack. And Oscar, being much more of a team player, struggles when his safe lane's also losing. He loses his lane. All of a sudden, you have, like, mid lane essentially being the only matchup. Have you noticed a little bit of that? Do you think Sacred has a more protagonist role, and that was better for Infamous's playstyle?
For sure. I think Sacred and Oscar are very different players. I think Sacred's more like a core, and you would pick up slack, like you said. I think Oscar's more like the stable. He's not known for like winning his lane and snowballing, right? He plays like Tide and just draws the lane. So,
Except for when he plays Timber. That's the one hero, right?
Yeah, and it's already banned, right? They already know.
Yeah, exactly. He's been figured out.
And Michael's back.
10 seconds.
Yeah, he's back.
All right. Okay.
One
That's
hero
gonna be
that I think is
interesting.
gonna be super contested this match is Snapfire, because they actually both teams play Snapfire on 5, 4, and 3. I think Balrogs might not play Snap 5, but they have a lot of overlap, and the hero's not banned first phase, so it's probably gonna be picked, I think.
10 seconds.
They also ran it when they ran it offlane, right? When RSNT was standing in for them, Bowie.
I think so, yeah.
Remaining.
But
I don't know if King Teka also plays it.
I'm sure Oscar does, but Quinteka has he likes the Shaker offlane. Plays a couple of different heroes from the other top offlaners of SA.
Yeah, he's weird. His hero pool is very weird.
Dire
Yeah.
team pick.
Okay, we start with a Caudle for Balrogs. Not the team I would actually expect to, because the Caudle, we've talked about it before, Mr. Bowie, but he's been predominant in a lot of other regions. SA less so. Kind of surprised that Balrogs is the one team to bring it back to SA.
Yeah, I think CXA played one game. He has one
Did,
game of
actually.
Caudle. So
Yep.
we'll see. I think it is a hero that enables. I think Lelis commented on it. Like, it's a hero that in the mid game can enable some cars really well, but his lane is weird, and a lot of teams struggle. Like, they just lane this guy, and he just leeches farm for 20 minutes until he starts being useful. And a lot of times it feels underwhelming. So I don't like this from Balrog, especially because they are 0-3. I'm not sure if they're screaming with this guy a lot, but it doesn't scream we're gonna win our lanes, we're gonna snowball, and momentum when you're 0-3 is so important to actually know you can at least take a game out of the big boys. But we'll see. It feels really strong in Europe, but in SA I didn't see a team that like shined with Caudle that much.
This ZXCA guy, he's a Caudle spammer. So he used to spam it when it had mana leak. It was insanely broken, but like he still plays it. They also, like you said, they played it in the game they lost against Thunder, right?
Yeah. I think
Yes.
so.
I think the second game.
I mean, I'm not really a fan of Caudle that much, especially. I think it's just way too hard to use this hero sometimes. Like, I feel like Recall is a very underused spell. And like a hero that doesn't really have a stun, he has like a slow early that he barely even levels sometimes because he wants to level Chakra, right? So it's like a support without a stun early, and he's just ricing, right? So if you start losing the game, the map can be really small, really fast.
What do you think of the other side, Lillis? The Hoodwink sanking as opposed to the Mirana sanking we're used to seeing in this region?
I think the Hoodwink is just a stronger laner. I also think Hoodwink is a little bit better like, against Anti-Mage. I don't know if you know, but when like the Anti-Mage kind of suffers against stuns that he can't block, right? Example, Sand stun, you just press E, and then he doesn't get stunned. But the Hoodwink W, he just gets stunned no matter what, and the ult also removes his passive, right, which is the magic resistance. So he just kind of dies really fast. It's kind of like a block pick for the Anti-Mage. They can't really pick Anti-Mage. They feel a little bit worse if they pick it. So then they just go and pick Medusa. I think the Sand King is, at this point, people just pick it because they're the strong hero, right?
Yeah.
So it's the dual offlane combination on second pick, which is a very common thing people do in drafts.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of drafters, and they told me that like it became really common to draft combos in the weak picks. So the weak picks are 6-7 for 6-7, and in the second phase, the 15-16, right?
Sorry, boy. I apologize for having to dumbing you down, but can you dumb it down for people that don't play Captain's Mode?
All right, so there are 2 times where you pick 2 heroes in a row.
Thank you.
And they're on each side. So Dire, they got Hoodwink, Sandwink, Sand King Jesus, and Balrogs in the second phase. They're gonna do the same thing. And because that phase of the draft is kind of weak, because you're not responding to you don't end the phase responding to the last hero. It's common to get like a burst combo, and you know the Sand King Mirana, DK Miranas, Hoodwink Sand King. They're all a lot of burst damage, and they've became really popular this patch.
I love the idea, by the way, Bowie, that you have this council of drafters that you talk to every week. Like, here, I need to now analyze a game this week. Tell me what's good, and they all like talk between themselves.
It's like 2 drafters, you know, but it sounds much better if you say drafters.
You guys all have to like wear robes, especially, right? With like a drafting, like the Dota logo on top of them. You have to meet in a special cult place. Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's a pick I was not expecting for Infamous. Nyx here, so it's gonna be sanking Nyx. It seems like they could also run Nyx 5. Axel does do that, but Hoodwink 5 has become kind of popular in Europe as they realize Acro shot pretty decent in a laning spell. What do you think of the Nyx though? Is it just an anti-Dusa pick here?
It is a very good Nyx game. It's super good against Coddle. What's it called? The third spell? I forgot. The Spike Carapace.
Spike Carapace?
Yeah, the Carapace.
Spike Carapace.
Mega good against Coddle. And the mana burn is just insane against Medusa, right? It's really hard for this hero to play against mana burn. He gets mana burn twice and then he has no mana. It is, in theory, really good, but the problem with this hero is that it's hard to just make him work in the lane, right? Because they have this Hoodwink and they open with Sand King. So they're already looking at this Hoodwink Sand King lane. And then they want to adapt. I'll just put the Hoodwink 5 and just pick Nyx. It's a really good Nyx game. But then you have a Nyx Sand King lane.
Yeah, that
it
sounds
just looks
so trash.
really, really ugly. Right?
Yeah. And I think this Dusa Clockwork lane is something they ran against Thunder Predator. They lost the game, but they played the lane really well. I remember the Clock and the Dusa got a lot of kills. And that looks much stronger than either Sand King. I think they have to play Sand King Hoodwink, honestly, against Clock 5 because the Nyx just gonna get run down. It's so sad for the Nyx. He cannot do anything.
Look, Axel does do Nyx 5. Is it that much of a crime? Can you not pick a carry that's like a strong laner and make up for the Nyx's weak lane?
Yeah, you can. But if you don't...
I mean,
just as like you have 2 mediocre lanes, yeah.
You can, but like then you're in a situation where you don't get to pick the carry you want to because you have a Nyx. And then you have to carry this Nyx to the lane. Right? Which sometimes it's okay. But sometimes you could just feel bad right on this pick right now, because then this hero's just great. Like let's pick PA. Like, can we even lane Nyx PA? It just sounds insanely dog shit, right?
Right.
Such a bad lane. But I like the Clock response here. A lot of teams they pick this Clock hero as a 5 blind, without seeing anything. But here they see Nyx and they see a potential lane where they can make this Nyx feel really bad, right? They can't put this Nyx into offlane, or else Clock is just gonna run him down when he pulls the wave, and he can't really lane against the Clock. So I like in this situation this Clock has been picked, especially because they have already a range hero that can lane with it. So I think it's pretty decent.
Now, the DK gets picked up. So, Bo, your council drafter's on point. Sankin gets picked up on the 2 picks here on the second pick, sorry, and then DK gets picked up on the 2 picks here on the first pick. What do you think of this here? Do you think it's gonna be an off laner or a mid laner right now? I mean, obviously it's a flex, but what's the idea?
I think it is looking really good as an offlaner because you do have a Coddle 4. I think the combination of the stun, right? Having the stun low cooldown in the mid game is really powerful. Having the blink stun into Chakra, you can pretty much just get another one. That's like super powerful. They do go for this Storm though, which can get countered pretty hard. If the DK is having a good game, just having the Blink Dragon Tail into Hookshot, that's a dead Storm 9 times out of 10. I guess they were scared of this Coddle being paired with Storm last pick for Balrogs and they snatched it up. I don't even know, like they could have banned it. I feel a little scared for the Storm, honestly. It doesn't feel like a free game for him.
Would you agree with that, Luz? Do you feel a bit scared for the Storm too?
Yeah, I think this DK stun with Coddle is mega broken. Like this stuff, like you get a 5-second stun or something. Like how long does it last? 4.5
seconds.
3.75, I think.
Yeah, 375.
It's just mega broken. You stun the guy, and then you get mana, and then you just stun him again or something. Like after 1 or 2 seconds. And for sure, they get another pick, right? They get like a mid to counter a Storm. This DK's probably going off lane after they see the Storm, right?
Yeah.
I think
so
Puck
they can
is
just counter the
serious.
Storm in lane.
They love the Robo Z Puck for Balrogs.
Yeah, it's not a free Storm game for sure. The thing is, when they pick this mid, they're gonna have to think about Nyx, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's gonna make it a little bit annoying to pick it, but you also have to think that this Nyx might just be a 5, and he might just be useless. Because the way Infamous is right now is their lanes are pretty weak, and they might just start losing the game really early, and the Nyx might not be able to get levels. And Rating has tower push, right, with DK and stuff.
Yeah.
So they don't even have tower damage for Infamous early. So this carry hero is gonna have to hit towers and have a decent lane with Nyx. You see how the draft is getting to a way where it's gonna be hard to pick this hero, and 2 heroes got banned. So like Razor and TB already got banned. So it's getting even harder. Not many options left. There is TA. Kind of this guy's a TA spammer.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be TA. Honestly, I feel like it's they don't have that much DOT, right? When you look at all of their heroes, it's a lot of one.
Oh, there's the fireball
spells
on Dragon.
True. we will get there. Yeah, I like the TA. I think Drow is okay-ish. You do have this Clockwork, but I think it is a good matchup versus Dusa, and it's powerful. But I think he plays much more TA than Drow, so probably gonna be TA.
Dire team pick.
Depends on his last pick. Kokori, Balrog, sorry, they're gonna run a CK, so it's gonna be a DK mid. It seems like, unless they're doing something weird to the CK, and the CK is gonna be their offlaner.
Yeah. Huh. I wonder why.
I'm surprised with this pick.
CK.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really strong. I think I don't really mind this. I think it's fine. I think Diego will do fine against Storm. He will pressure the tower early, and this lane is really strong. CK Coddle, you spam the stun non-stop, right? So this puts a lot of pressure on Infamous to actually have to pick a stronger laner. Because they have this Nyx hero now.
Can they still cut it with a TA? There we go. It is gonna be the TA. Do you think that's enough? Well, actually, I'm really curious. Is Nyx gonna be? Yes, it's Nyx 5. Do you think that's gonna be enough? Can they survive that early game for Infamous, Lowe's?
They can. I think Nyx is gonna feed. Like he's gonna have like 3 deaths in lane, and he's just gonna buy like 5 salves for TA. That's how they're gonna play lane. He's just gonna feed. TA is gonna maybe be a little bit over leveled because the Nyx is always dead, right? And they just get solo XP. But I feel like Balrogs should just crush this lane. CK should be mega farmed, and this TA will have to go jungle early.
Overall, would you say Balrogs is?
Yeah, I would favor Balrogs in this game. I think this Nyx 5 thing, when you pick Nyx, a counter like the Dusa, is just a meme. Like this hero's not even gonna have any levels. It's probably not gonna have any items. He's gonna get first hook shot and then just stunned by DK. He's gonna die instantly.
Bowie?
So I feel like the most important part for Infamous in this draft is actually their offlane. I feel like Storm, they have 4 strength heroes on the side of Balrog, so they're super tanky. If that lane doesn't, all of their damage in that lane, you have Hoodwink and tanking. If they do poorly, the Storm won't be able to hunt anyone. Like everyone there but the Coddle is super tanky, and I feel like they're gonna be out of moves. If that lane does well, I think there's a chance. But I agree with Lilis. I think the draft from Balrogs looks much more solid. They have really good timings, really good lanes. Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, well, the panel has spoken. They both agree with Balrog's draft, but will Balrog be able to snowball out of control and therefore crush Infamous? Or will Axel do what he does best, feed with skill, and carry the game with that Nyx Assassin 5? We're going to have to see as we go over to our casters, Gareth and Lacoste.
Thank you so much. Intentional feeding, but the good kind, potentially, from this Nyx Assassin. I think the panel brings up a good point. If the laning stage here, Lacoste, goes poorly for them, you also have that overlap of Storm and TA who need farm to catch up. It could be a rough one. But what are your thoughts for these two drafts?
I mean, they have very gank-oriented lineup. Like, they need to be executing those ganks on the side lanes with Nyx Assassin Storm. Their pickoff is really good, especially with the Hoodwink as well. They will have like decent amount of damage, but their team fight is very lackluster. I don't think they also have what it takes to bring through the like tankability of all these heroes. They like none of their heroes deal well with the illusions unless he lands them perfectly. So there's gonna be side blades, which is not gonna happen. TA does not do well against the illusion-based carries, and there's also Medusa in this game, so I feel like this is going to be a really rough one for Infamous. Just looking at the draft, I favor Balrog heavily, and panel talked about a lot of good points. Dragon Knight's going to be on a mid lane, so not your typical off-lane Dragon Knight, but he gets the job done. And this is also a hero that scales. To go back to some memes, Nyx Assassin, this hero just doesn't do anything. Like his skills are incredible at the later stages of the game, but in the lane, what do? Like use Impale and then wait for 17 seconds praying that you don't die, or Temper Assassin somehow getting the farm. It's really tough hero to play.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. I think Lella said he's going to go 0-3 and bring out like 4 salves in the first couple of minutes, and he's going to walk straight into the CK stun. The first death, one of 3 coming soon. Axel in so much trouble. Queen Tech are the one to grab that first blood.
Okay, so he needs
begins.
Needs 2 more deaths in the next 3 minutes, which seems like it's going to happen. They do have Infamous does have Sanking plus Hoodwink, which is strong lane. You can get the kills from it. This is also Clockwork 5. Who got the first blood? Who got it? It was Queen Tech guy. Yeah.
It's also Michael's signature hero, this Hoodwink, so should have a pretty good one down there with the amount of pressure they can actually get on this Medusa, who is weak the first few levels, the first few minutes. For sure could make life a bit more difficult for Burner. I mean, you mentioned the Medusa and the CK. Like DK also, the 3 cores of the Radiant are all incredibly tanky. I struggle to see a world in which when we get to like 25, 30 minutes and we have these 5v5 clashes, bursting 1, sure, but all 3 might be a difficulty for them. We'll see how well this lane stage goes.
BKB timing on side of Balrogs is going to be very difficult for Infamous to handle, I'd say. Like, they have no abilities that go through magic immunity, so they need to, get the first jump. They do have heroes that can jump first, but it's going to come down to vision and how they execute. Sanking stun bottom. They already cut down all the trees. Medusa started with the Quelling Blade, not usually the item she starts with, but wanted to, have this area open up so the Hoodwink cannot get the bushwhack.
Yeah, one of those fringe cases now. We rarely see that Quelling Blade on like Luna, Gyro. We used to see it a lot since the nerfs. Feels much more effective just to buy slippers or stats, especially on a hero like Medusa. But yeah, Radiant got the pull off. Michael contesting, so we can take a little peek into some of these other lanes, as Michael just gonna be fine walking it off. Mid, Storm against DK. You said it's a long time since we've seen this mid DK, much more preferred in the off-lane role, but he's always been a good solid laner, hasn't he?
He has. Storm, I think, over the time just got better. Storm was receiving tons of buffs. DK got some, but he also got nerfed. It's a free lane for Storm Spirit. Like, you can't kill Storm unless he disconnects. There needs to be like a rotation. They also don't have the best heroes to rotate
Michael.
with.
After Assault keeps going, it's going to end now. Looks like Michael's fast enough to slip away, as Nyx tried a quick stun back towards Kotal. It's like these 2 supports, or all 4 supports, chasing around in the jungle. Yeah, you're right. 16-2 for Storm. Complete free lane. Hammering that DK in the last hits. DK is never really going to lose out with Dragon Blood. He'll stick himself there.
No, but Storm
Not
will
too
keep
many
him
worries.
low. Like, that's how you should play. First couple of levels, just be as aggressive as possible. Use all your mana just to get that advantage. Get the bottle, keep refilling, push the wave. I'd say it's pretty simple. Not so much in a real game, because you can miss a couple of CS. It gets into your head. But overall, just a better Storm matchup. So they do have like enough, I'd say, lockdown for him later on. But it's not going to be easy. Looking at bottom, Medusa 14 and 7. A lot of denies in this lane. Clockwork as a 5 does surprisingly well at zoning out heroes.
Yeah, he's just been chasing back Michael. Now they get a chance to press forward onto Oscar. He has to Burrow Strike away from his own Sandstorm thanks to Sexy Yogi's presence.
Sexy Yogi, what a nickname. There's a lot of really nice nicknames in South America. I love casting SA.
Man, we had so much fun. Like, was it back tour 1? There's me, Zaori, Bowie, Trent. We're all having fun with Minnie and PP and Sexy Yogi and all this. It's great stuff.
Templar Assassin struggling. It's a lot of harassment. Like Benel talked about, a CK going for more points in Chaos Bolt and Reality Rift because he's paired up with Coddle, so he can also replenish mana. Not just that, he also has the Soul Ring. So every single time someone gets close, they're gonna get stunned. And especially this useless hero Nyx. Like he's just like not contributing much. He has a lot of CS, 4 CS as a position 5. Really good. This is probably the small camp that he farmed.
Yeah, exceptional stuff. Sexy Yogi again falling back through his own jungle, making sure Michael isn't sticking in the lane. He actually gets the cogs onto Michael here. A battle between the two of them inside that arena. Now, though, with a bushwhack landing, Sexy Yogi might be the one in trouble.
Has a fair
turns around on him.
He's okay.
Yeah, you're right. We'll pop the stick now, hold the fairy fire. If another hit comes, that's the acorn shot. And both of them will limp away, licking their wounds, but no one dying.
I think biggest winner is Medusa, who is getting solo levels and getting a free farm on the bottom, 25 and 9. Looking good for Balrogs in terms of the laning stage, because the only lane that is not doing so well is the mid lane. So they will need to use this like Storm Spirit advantage that he got to be able to make stuff done. Dragon Knights become ungankable, I would say, on the mid lane, so they he needs to gank the side lanes.
And especially after laning stage, it's going to come down to Alone on this Storm and Oscar on the Sand King. And speaking of Oscar, actually, in the Sandstorm, do they have reveal?
Sentry.
Sentry's dropped. He doesn't have Burrow Strike, so that'll be another kill. Going the way of the Balrogs. Burner picking it up, so accelerating herself even more in that bottom lane.
I think the reason why they picked the Nyx Assassin is because he has mana burn, and then he can use it on Burna. Burna has mana.
Ooh, DK. Getting gone on by Michael and Alone. He's very low. He had a fairy fire, and of course that dragon blood keeps him
Sorry, Gary. Sometimes I can't help
healthy
myself.
for a while. What did you do?
I said he was gonna mana Burna.
Sometimes I just don't hear you do it. You say it so deadpan. It's like, oh, you didn't say a joke.
I tried to, blend it in so that it's not too obvious.
Yeah, you do it very well.
Bit of a lag coming out.
Yep. Once we get out of that laning stage, though, it's going to come down to Alone and Oscar, right? The Storm and Sand King have so much on their plate to give the TA space. And Michael's going to get involved as well. It's all about which target they pick to go on. We try and kill the Cottle, who's stacking Triangle and Ancients. Do we try and kill Medusa to shut her down early? Difficult to pick your spot.
They didn't get much out of the bottom lane, but at least Oscar on Sand King, he's not like investing anything in these small items to play the lane. He understood what needs to be done, so he's going straight for the Blink Dagger, which I really like. Like, he didn't go double bracer, full wand, I don't know, tranquil boots. I've seen people do that. In this situation, considering things are not going so good for you, it's much better to just go straight up Blink Dagger, because you're losing the lane anyway.
Yeah, you need to be that presence. Now, with the Storm coming in, it is Oscar and Alone pairing up to kill the Clockwork. It will mean a bit of pressure onto Burner's Medusa, but I don't think he minds too much. And you know what? This Nyx Assassin, he died once at the very start of the game. Thinking about the way the Clockwork just died, Axel has actually kept himself alive, albeit hitting level 3 7 minutes in doesn't feel particularly good.
I mean, what is this? Like, what can they... Okay, here we go. I don't know if we were watching top lane, the bottom died. Yes.
Ah, they get him. Burner, I thought he'd be fine just getting back behind tower. Now Oscar taking the tower hits and the battery assault. Cleared up. Storm and Sand King. The two heroes I was really looking at to make this kind of turnaround out of the laning stage as ZXC dies to Lumiere top lane.
And Oscar got the last hit, so that means he's going to be very close to Blink Dagger, needs to farm 400 gold. Will have... No, I mean, he will have Epicenter once he has the Blink Dagger, so can play a bit more aggressive. Then Dragonite could potentially die. Like, he is tanky, but if they bring Sanking Storm +1, the Dragonite dies.
Middle tower is under attack.
Sure does. Storm and Sanking. Sexy Yogi was near a haste rune, but he won't be grabbing that for himself. Alone breaks out the cogs, getting some free money. Triple null Storm, and he's got BKB queued up.
Interesting
Storm
build.
skipping out, skipping boots altogether.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this. Can work.
Yeah.
There's no abilities that go through magic immunity other than Stone Gaze, but he can zip away. So yeah, they found Fairy's Trinket. Great on Storm Spirit, always finds it somehow. Maybe he could get like Kaya in between. I wouldn't mind seeing that. This is a bit too defensive, I would say.
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to do. So we now have that period where Lumiere in that position 1 role, the TA just farming jungle, but they do decide to smoke as 3. Coming out of top jungle. They know CK has fallen back. He walked over a trap. Bottle, again, just been stacking up those camps in the triangle, which it looks like Infamous want to try to invade. Storm loves stealing out this farm.
Ooh, this is huge.
That's going to be a big boost for Alone. Sexy Yogi and ZXC will realize far too late. But maybe with a DK here, never mind.
Robozy
Quick
got
ball
2 or
lightning
3
away.
of the big ones. And Sanking, he also wants to join. Blink Dagger and Epi is available. Let's see the execution on the mid lane. They need another hero. Storm, a bit low on mana, so he's not going to be joining.
Difficult for him to come across. Now DK's popped his ulti, so this would be the perfect time to go in on him. They do get that Oscar ulti out and DK down. Not as tanky as he first appeared.
First usage of the Epicenter, very nice. Like, he got the really good timing on that Blink Dagger, considering how the lane went. I see CK that has Blink Dagger queued up, and so is Dragonite. They can't afford to get 2 Blink Daggers. It's just too much gold into mobility items, and I don't think it's necessary. They also have, like, Medusa, so I think they need to slow the game down a little bit. And, like, I think it's fine if CK... I'll hold that thought.
I mean, yeah, Clockwork's been running for a year away from the Storm and Hoodwink. It looked like he might survive until the very end.
To go
Oscar
back to
joins in
my
to help.
double Blink Dagger point, I don't feel like you need it. Also, you might want CK to scale. Like, Dragonite can become like an offlaner, and you will have like secondary carry coming up from the CK. So I would prefer if he gets either Armlet or if he gets Echo Saber, and then maybe get a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, just ramp up that damage output. Because for now, CK is your main presence on the map. Your main way to take down this safe lane tier 1. But looks like he's going to be farming jungle while Sexy Yogi plays forward. That's the barrier you need for Medusa to farm triangle and your jungle. CK and DK show on the map. They're in the lanes. Saying, hey, look at me. I'm a target. They will start on the next with that carapace. Yeah, turns it back onto the CK. Hook shot comes, but damage is lacking. Queen Tekka on the run. Storm's got plenty of mana to play with, though, and Alone straight back on in it. And Sexy Yogi, trying to save his buddy, gets taken down in a matter of seconds.
Man, this Nyx Assassin doing a lot of work. And yeah, he gets the tips. Good usage of the carapace and nice stun. That stun like barely connecting. He was caught inside of the cogs, and he got levels. He got a lot of levels from that fight. Almost level 7. I like that he's maxing out the carapace. Scales a bit better than the Impale.
And they're going bottom as well. ZXC just gets slapped by the Melt Strike of the TA. What looked like a Radiant push on that top tier 1 now turns into a push down bottom, while CK Tech is here with a Phantasm, but Oscar with a Burrow Epicenter back in on him. Loads of damage from the Templar Assassin. Oh, they're going to bring the CK down. Yeah. Now DK, he's coming here to defend. Oscar in the trees, any reveal coming. Sexy Yogi does have a Sentry and a Dust. I'll be able to find him, but will they catch him? No, he blinks out. And Lumiere sticks around. The hook shot whiffs completely now Affliction. He'll line up the stun, not going to land it though, as the DK blinks off to the right, but they've got 3 traps. The scout has traveled through the jungle. And again, this Templar Assassin getting involved so early on. Just opens things up on that bot lane while ZXC's come back. And Michael chasing him. Bushwhack in 3 seconds with an Acorn shot too. He doesn't have mana for both, does he? That's why ZXC is, yeah, trying to duke around away from the trees, but Oscar with that Blink Burrow and Storm zipping long range. Huge kills for Infamous, 13-3 now, after a laning stage that looked incredible for Balrogs.
Man, they are outplaying them so hard. Lumiere with the early rotations. You don't expect Templar Assassin to be as active before she gets to death. So I think she's very comparable to Tiny. Like, if there's a fight nearby, she will join, but this is at the complete opposite side of the map. And Sanking also living. After a horrible start, Oscar really, you know, making himself a comeback into this game, because he used the Burrow Strike on the Clockwork, so got out of the... Because there was overtime damage from Dragonite, so he couldn't blink away. They used the dust. A lot of resources also wasted on the bottom lane, and he's back into the game. Like, he's in the middle of the pack, but has the same amount of farm as Dragonite.
Yeah, wait, it was perfect. Like, TA cleared the triangle, came bot. It's like, yeah, we can do a bit of damage. Maybe kill a Cottle. And then one by one, the Radiant filters in to hand kill after kill to Infamous. And they're grouped under a Dire Observer ward now near Roshan. 4 Radiant heroes, all converging around their own Observer on that high ground.
Man, Storm has full Kaya Sanj.
Oh.
This has to be one of the fastest ones. DD.
Onto the DK. All lightning back so Axel can get the stun in on him. And Dragonite, he's trying to get the help in here from Burner, but the Stone Gaze will mean very little. This DD Storm zipping back away as Oscar finds another target. Burner strike onto Sexy Yogi, and Alone now unstoppable.
They're crumbling. I feel like, you know, they just getting too much of the map on side of Infamous with this Desolator. And Sanking has Epi once again available. Nyx Assassin's gonna do a lot of work. Like, he survived the laning stage, and now this hero is very annoying to lane. Carapace maxed out against Keeper of the Light, very easy to set things up. Great against Medusa. I think they need to give him like the second dome as well, because the first dome was given to Hoodwink. Because his mana burn is insane. Like, mana burn against Medusa, of course. And then now you have Dragonite plus Chaos Knight with Blink Dagger. It just feels awkward.
It's like you were saying, that investment into aggression, right? You said they should slow things down, get the Medusa online, scale up on the CK or the DK, and now you're looking at these 2 items where they're thinking, we're behind, we want to start fights, but the way Infamous are outplaying us feels really rough to go out and do stuff.
Because this item doesn't... It does, like, increase your farm a little bit, because you can blink between the camps, but in terms of damage, like, it doesn't give you anything in terms of tankiness. It's really not there. Nyx now scouting things out, getting some XP for himself. Classic Nyx Assassin things.
Just out of range of a Radiant Sentry as well. Is Alone going to zip across? Of course he is. Pops the Arcane straight in onto the CK, blows up Queen Tekka. Axel scouted that out and set it up beautifully. And now, Balrogs, they really want this tier 1 mid, but they're going to be met with aggression. 2-man Burrow, side blade splashing off the meld, and that is just destruction of Robo-Z. They've got the Stone Gaze going. That's a snake coming back to Burner, but Alone and Oscar, they've got another Burrow Strike. They've got stuns galore. The minus armor's way too much to handle.
And Affliction lives also. He doesn't have mana for stun. Will have, but it might be a bit too late. Trap also connects. Oh man, there's Hoodwink TPing right now.
Say goodbye, Sexy Yogi.
They might turn this into Roche. They know there's no dragon form. There is no Medusa ulti, so let's see if they go inside the Roche pit right away.
Oh, the 2 bugs are skittering forward.
They're a bit low on HP, but yeah, they're gonna do it anyway.
They can try and kill the Cottle first. That's another freebie ZXC hands over to Infamous. High ground vision gave them all the information they needed.
This Dragonite is not tanky at all, even without the break mechanic. When they jump him with Melt and Deso, he's just a normal hero, I would say. And like, look at
Michael.
Oh no, the big
and Alone blowing up the Clockwork just like that. And the secondary target is going to be Robo-Z. The DK, that's a D. I thought that was the Cottle dying.
Yeah, it dies so
2
quickly,
seconds and
Gary.
he's gone.
I mean, they know that they were gonna go inside the pit, so they try to contest it, like be around it, and they just feed more kills. They don't have what it takes to deal with Infamous right now. Storm's getting out of control. Storm's just a recipe away from BKB. Sanking doing a lot of work, has boots of travel, so they can easily play the side lanes with Hoodwink setting things up from the trees, Storm with the zip, Rocket will only scout things out. And
8 stacks on the Deso, 17 minutes in.
Not bad.
And a TP top. See, CK just, yeah, he's out here pushing the wave, but not really where he should be. Boost of travel from Oscar. Like you said, allows him to play the side lanes, get straight onto your Storm or your TA.
Now, Oscar's kind of carrying this game, like both him and Alone, but mostly Oscar. He's been all over the place, picking up that Blink Dagger. A lot of Sankings I've seen struggle with setting things up with the first, like, Blink, but he played it perfectly. They probably, like, thought there's no way he has it, because they shut him down. And it comes back down to itemization in the laning stage. Look at him right now. He has Magic Wand, which he upgraded after picking up the Blink Dagger, and then getting one Null Talisman just to have a bit more mana to work with.
That's incredible. And now, plants himself top, pushes out the wave, trying to force some kind of reaction from the Balrogs. While the rest of the Dire clearing out the Radiant Triangle, and they do get a catch on Michael. That's a nice little kill, especially handing the money to Burner. But where do you go as Balrogs now? It's this great move from Infamous, pressing into the triangle, forcing them to take a small skirmish there. And then your Medusa's stuck, your CK's stuck, and you're all up here doing nothing.
Balrogs have no real objectives to take at this point. Like, they take tier 1 tower mid.
Yeah, Storm with the Sanking in onto the DK. Does have that one popped, and a good stun onto the Storm Spirit now. A big kill for them. Aegis gone. Oscar in a bit of trouble, but with Lumiere arriving, they make short work of the Clockwork, and Storm go in pretty deep. Just wants the creep wave.
Decent usage of the Aegis. They get 2 kills out of it. Nothing spectacular, but yeah, you still want to use it. And he's going to have a BKB. Has Aghanim's queued up after that. Maybe a Lincoln Sphere needs to be done before the Ags. Ags is a great item on Storm, don't get me wrong. You can set things up for a huge Bushwhack, Nyx, Impale, Sanking Stun, even just a Side Blade from Temporary Assassin. Like, all these things work really well. So just overall great item. He's almost on top of the network. Temporal Assassin did take over because she just farms a bit faster and the Storm is a bit more active. Bottom lane, sounds like they're not gonna even defend this tier 2 tower on bottom.
See, this is kind of what I've... CK looks like he's going to be dying mid. Yeah, Axel sets it up again. Just a quick impale. Nice sharpshooter. CK using the Phantasm late and loses everything. A long cooldown to expend. This is how it's felt since the tier 1 tower bottom. That fight around it, the take from the Dire team. The Radiant are struggling to clear out waves and, like, carve an area of the map for themselves to play in. Is that their draft, their itemization with the blinks? Is that
it's the itemization and how they played with the draft that they had? Like, I think they lost so much momentum going for 2 blink daggers and lost a big part of the map. Lumiere, he's gonna get jumped. But the good 4 staff.
He's got BKB and the 4 staff, absolutely right. Michael's there to save the TA. And Lumiere can still think about this BKB
It's time
blink
to go. No Medusa.
to go back in. Hook shot, catches Nyx and Sanking inside the cogs, but they turn back on him. Sexy Yogi down to half HP and a good impale, landing on Burner. There's that sharpshooter clearing up the Clockwork, while CK does bring down Affliction. The fight slows down until Oscar jumps back in. He's found the Medusa and the Melt Strike BKB up. TA just focuses in. Straight into the line of sight of TA and Storm, and Burner dead for a minute. CK will follow up.
If Balrogs didn't have Medusa, if they had some, like, different type of the carry, I would say they would maybe call it after losing one more big fight and losing Roche, because it's very tough. This Nyx Assassin right now doing a lot of work. Mana burn maxed out, Carapace as well. We'll have a 4 staff, double 4 staff, something that I haven't seen in a while. The item did receive a buff in the previous patch, 3 seconds less on the cooldown, so works really nicely. And they understand, you know, they have, like, no real ways of locking us down. If they initiate with Dragon Knight, let's say a stun or CK stun, we can push them out. The same goes for the Clockwork. So good itemization so far from not just the 2 supports on Infamous, but everyone else.
It's kind of insane how the Nyx has gone from being, predicted 0-3 feeding in lane to 0-2 and 16 and setting up all of these side lane kills. 8-8 in that Vendetta.
I was mostly watching the bottom lane during the laning stage. I didn't caught what was happening at the top lane. But I feel like the lane, like they should get much less farm out of the lane.
Yeah. It felt like Kotl was kind of detaching himself from the CK too much, trying to mess with pulls and stuff like that. And that allowed the Knicks to just follow the Kotl around and not worry too much.
The small camp was available. I don't remember there being a sentry. I think they didn't even block it. So someone needs to either body block it or Kotl needs to go in and kill the creep wave once they're pushing. Once they're pulling, sorry.
Now we're looking at an 11k net worth lead. Alone still bootsless. Finished off that BKB and he's heading into Aghanim Scepter next. Yeah, we can see there like 10 odd minutes in, 10 to 12 minutes was that bottom lane move from the TA and Sand King that just spiraled that advantage for Infamous. So where they are now. Axel yet again. Very forward. No reveal here to see him. Nobody's showing either. So just a quick and easy tier 2. While Balrogs scrambling to get space for this Medusa, who is currently 3 grand behind the TA.
Templar Assassin.
How much of a difference is that BKB going to make for the Medusa? Because that's what she's got queued up, it looks like.
You're kind of forcing Medusa to go for an item that she doesn't want to build usually. That's Nyx Assassin Mana Burn, and she just doesn't feel as tanky. He has a Force Staff. I would love to see Nyx Assassin pick up Eon Disc. It's a great position 5. Like, in general, great item on Nyx Assassin, because you don't have a Dispel early on, and that means that you have Carapace ready in a fight, and also means probably you're gonna have like a Force Staff after that, and then, you know, another stun plus Mana Burn and Carapace for this particular reason.
Well, it's just like, I think Axel knows exactly what he's doing there, right? He's sitting between where tier 1 and tier 2 used to be in this Radiant off lane. No one near him, but he kind of felt that Radiant needed a smoke to do something, and Infamous are perfectly happy giving a position 5 Nyx for a 5-man smoke.
Oh, for sure. Just breaking that smoke on position 5 feels really good.
They do get out and get some good vision around their own triangle and around Roshan. We will see when the big man comes in about 50 seconds. This is the kind of thing we needed to see from them earlier on as well. Making these pockets of space for Burner's Medusa to farm safely. And also to have her nearby for a fight if it does break out.
They're gonna
Looks
smoke.
like Infamous.
They want to get something done. They want to make this into something bigger, possibly Roshan that could spawn in 25 seconds if it's a fast spawn. But they feel like they're much stronger right now, so I don't blame them. Like, they just need to make stuff done.
Oh dear. So many stuns coming his way. Didn't stand a chance on Storm. The ball lightning BKB straight onto the Medusa. Hookshot's already being used up as well. And Alone just going wild on Burner. Nyx Assassin. Oh, he's going to get trapped in the cogs now. And the Stone Gaze is going. Storm Spirit trapped with the stuns on him, but he's so tanky. They can't bring him down. And this allows Lumiere with a DD to come back in to play around with a CK. Oscar with that great reinitiation. And another Bushwhack. Fine Sexy Yogi. Balrogs falling apart. One by one, they all die.
Storm, big zip on Medusa. Great play there from Alone. Uses a lot of her mana. Forces us to use Manta Style, Stone Gaze, and the BKB. So she's completely out of the fight. And Templar Assassin, just a cleanup hero at the moment. 20 extra damage on this. So this is a bit OP as an item. I think a lot of people realize that. I'm not sure why we added extra 20 damage on it.
Because we took...
Yeah, we took
the
5
numbers
and
away
added
from Bloodstone.
25.
No, they took the numbers away from Bloodstone and they were like, we have to give something else the numbers. So they gave it to the Deso.
Yeah, they gave numbers to Axe as well.
Oh yeah, and Necro.
Yeah. I feel a bit weird
stacks.
about the Necro change, and I think the previous one was much better. Necro can snowball with the extra regen and mana regen, but adding those extra that timer seconds, that just felt too good.
Oh man. Well, let's go again. Yeah, let's go again. 4-man smoke. We know that Roshan could potentially be spawning any time now. 1 minute 20 on our clock, but the players itching for a battle around the pit.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I do like Balrogs out. They're coming out of their base. They're playing near the Medusa who's farming, making sure that Sexy Yogi just behind and be that smoke trap. Radiant vision.
Radiant's courier has
Also
been
up on that high ground, can see when they're coming. So now the decision has to be made by the Balrogs. Do we go and meet them, or do we keep on trying to split and push? And the answer is smoke and go. Michael, Oscar, they're out on the front line technically. But the epicenter started, cancelled now by that hook shot. But Robo-Z focused, blown up by the TA. Oh, it's not looking good for the Balrogs.
Oh,
That two-man stun lands in, and the next assassin catches them. Sexy Yogi down, and the Storm and TA still going. Burner will manta out with his BKB going, does get a support kill. But ZXC, with that epicenter now arriving from Oscar, will be annihilated. And that's it, a 5-man wipe, losing only your Nyx. He's had a pretty good game, that next assassin.
He does. He gets the
GG.
job done. He goes. I can't blame them. Even with Medusa, they just feel like they don't have enough. Like they don't have enough damage. This Storm Spirit and Templar Assassin got out of control. They got too much out of the laning stage. The way they tried to set things up is they put this CK. I think it comes down to like itemization and the execution on the bottom tower. They just kept chain feeding. Great rotation from Infamous, though. We got to give credit to Templar Assassin. Sanking, I already praised his itemization, where he just went straight for the Blink Dagger, gets a kill on a mid lane on Dragon Knight, goes bottom, gets multiple kills, gets out, doesn't die. Just good performance from Infamous. Looking at the draft, I still feel, this type of draft from Balrogs was very good. I still favored their draft. It's just, the execution of what you have was not a top tier, not even close.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the scores and you think, okay, perfect game for TA, for Storm, 10-0-10, 16-0-10. I think, honestly, though, Affliction and Oscar, perfect games in their own right, with 0-4-19 on that Nyx Assassin, beating all the doubters, saying he would feed 3, 4, 5, 10 times in laning stage.
That main Nyx Assassin is a very odd hero. If you get out of the laning stage, if you get like a couple of trade kills, he didn't in this one, but just talking about Nyx in general, you can feel good. If you're getting the levels, if you're the last one that dies, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to get the gold or anything. It's just about getting those levels, and if you get the good carapace off in a fight, especially against this uncontrollable damage that Balrogs had, it just feels good to be in the game as Nyx.
Yeah, and the swift, decisive movements as well, like that TA moving out of triangle, coming down to bottom lane with Oscar, just two heroes, setting out this kind of cataclysmic event, which forced Balrogs to keep defending, always on the back foot. But we'll head back to Avo and the panel to break it down a little more for game one.
Thank you. Break it down. We will indeed, as we're here ready to analyze this this first game. We talked a little bit about the Nyx Assassin die, the lanes being kind of abused, but that didn't really happen. Though I want to highlight one particular player that I think surpassed everyone's expectations here, Oscar. We talked about how Sacred was a bit more of the game carry, the potential. He kind of takes the game for himself, but Oscar really showed up on the Sanking. Him and Michael were a incredible duo. What was your opinion on his performance this game, Lillis? Were you impressed by his Sanking?
Yeah, I thought he played super well. I thought his rotation when he got the blink and killed the DK mid, I think that's a really big breaking point for the game. It's where like he's showing his blink, he gets the pick off, and he also just stops him from getting the mid tower. That actually never happened in the game. When you're playing DK and you don't get the pressure, right? Mid tower just feels really sad. I think he also played really well the bottom sequence where like he baited a bunch of spells, got low, juked in the trees, then die. Thought he had an excellent performance. Also alone played really well this game. All the cores on Infamous, the supports too.
Yep.
I think everybody just played super well. Also thought Balrogs didn't really deliver that much. I feel like the itemization, the double blink thing wasn't very on point. And also thought the CK was just in a weird, awkward position. He never actually left his lane, and then he ended up dying to a storm rotation, right? So then like this offlane hero's not snowballing. The mid got ganked by the offlaner. There's like no map pressure or anything.
What happened to your beloved Balrogs this game? It's not the Balrogs we're used to seeing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think what the crux.
God damn. Oh. We don't have to.
I'm making
turns.
you look good, Alpha. I'm making you look good. Everyone makes this mistake. But yeah, I think the crux of the problem is Kotto. I felt like they tried really hard on the clock to contest the storm runes, But Kato as a hero doesn't really do that very well. So he was just like in a side lane. And I think Sexy Yogi fed like 3 or 4 times trying to contest runes. They barely got a single rune for DK. Storm got like the first 4 or 5 in a row. So that really accelerated the Storm game. I think that was one problem. The other problem I saw was the way CK played. I think he went really greedy with his build. I watch a lot of Lely's stream, and he usually talks about like how going for those small items on CK can like really slow down your game. So like he was winning his lane handedly, and he went like Soul Ring Treads, then Blink, and he got like a 12 minute Blink dagger, whereas the same king that just rushed Blink had like a 9-minute one, and he was creating so much space around the map. So the fact that he never left the lane because of those kind of greedy items he got, I feel like totally made his game impossible. Because then the DK was dying middle because the CK couldn't TP, and then his Blink dagger got super delayed, and like the game was a disaster.
Do you agree with Bowie's analysis of your analysis, Lilith? Do you think he was right there with the CK?
Yeah, I think it's a multiple of things. Like the CK hero, he's just stuck in this lane, right? He doesn't want to leave the lane until he takes a tower or he has a blink. And he's going tread soaring, so that means he wants to stay in lane. So then he just gets ganked, right? Like they're losing these other lanes, he gets ganked, and he just feels really sad. I also agree with the Coddle thing. Like I was skeptical about the Coddle in the beginning already. I thought Coddle had 0 impact. I think he did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Literally just it's not like I'm flaming him. It's just
Hero.
the hero just feels awkward when you're losing. It just doesn't do anything.
I mean, that's partially the point why in Western Europe we're seeing more success is being flexed into the offlane and mid position, right? Because they acknowledge that Coddle support doesn't always work out, and mid and offlane can have a bit more impact, can suit that playstyle a bit more. They're also more experienced, as you've noticed, as you've mentioned a couple times, Ellis. Like, it's not an easy hero to play either, with in general as a team. But with that, we're going to take a small break, guys, as Balrogs versus Infamous Game 2 will resume shortly. They still have another chance, Balrogs, to show us what they're made of. This is not the Balrogs we're used to seeing as a much more passive Balrogs, much more defensive. It's not the Balrogs that dominated Beast Coast in game #1, or the Balrogs that put even Thunder Awake in a difficult position. It's a Balrogs a bit more tame. We're seeing they can really bring that Balrog out, or if Infamous will be able to 2-0 them. For now, we'll see you in 5 minutes.